So it looks like it's just about 7:30. And tonight we're going to be doing things a little bit differently. We're going to be doing a different sequence. You can all hear me, right? Yes? Okay. If you've been tuning in for the last month, you know that we've been having a series on the 5 hindrances. We've covered sensual desire, ill will, sloth and torpor, restless anxiety and remorse. And tonight I'll be finishing up with the 5th hindrance, doubt. So what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to talk about doubt, then give a quick overview of the 5 hindrances and how they manifest. And following that, we're going to do an investigation of the hindrances in our meditation. And at the end, we'll look at some antidotes and some ways of coping with the hindrances. So now with the Buddha having given 84,000 suttas, I think we're all on here. By the way, I should have said I'm Joy LiBethe, one of your Dharma leaders. I'm glad you're all here tonight, and I'm glad you all made it on time to hear the Dharma talk first. So with the Buddha having given 84,000 suttas, and with so much to learn, you might ask, why have the Dharma leaders spent 5 weeks on these hindrances? So here's why. The hindrances are very powerful, unwholesome mind states that can negatively affect our ability to concentrate and relax during meditation. And when off the cushion, they can adversely affect our lives by preventing us from seeing clearly. So we all know that there are thoughts or mental states that make it difficult to practice mindfulness. The hindrances obscure our perceptions, cloud our judgment, create reactivity in our relationships, and prevent us from being our true selves. It's even said that they can block our spiritual progress. We need to learn how to work skillfully with these hindrances. So tonight, doubt is our first hindrance. And I want to show you a little cartoon here. She's saying, I know there's no way to do this wrong, but I'm sure I'm not doing it right. So many people believe that doubt is the most dangerous of all the hindrances. It can drain our confidence, paralyze or stop our meditation in its tracks, and it can present as indecision, uncertainty, or lack of confidence. That doubt might be about our beliefs. It might be about how we meditate. If we're new, it could be that we're even doubtful that we'll be able to meditate. So we might doubt our progress, our goals on the path. We might doubt our teachers, or even the 3 jewels, the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. And we know that these hindrances also function to impede us in everyday life and prevent us from living with an open heart and mind with clarity. Now, there are different types of doubt, and the distinctions for us to make is important between them. First, there is wholesome doubt or questioning doubt, which is a type of skeptical, inquiring doubt. It comes out of interest, curiosity, a questioning mind. It's the opposite of being dogmatic or having blind belief. It's wise questioning when you are uncertain or confused or seek confirmation or confidence. So when you're doubting in your practice, it's okay not to know. Confidence is difficult for beginners or when you seem to be a standstill in your practice. My root teacher, Sansanin, used to teach what he called don't know mind. And that's a wise place from which to reside. I mean, couldn't life be better and more peaceful if we could just say, I don't know, and still move forward? Living with uncertainty and not losing heart, that's inquiring or wholesome doubt. But there's also cynical or reactive doubt, and that can come from fear, distrust, confusion, being overwhelmed. And how does this doubt come to be in us? Well, if there's a doubting voice in your head, maybe it's your voice, or maybe it's a voice of someone else, perhaps someone from your childhood, a person of different beliefs who make you question what you're doing, or someone who's been highly critical of you and you've assumed that same kind of criticism of yourself. I want to show you one more little cartoon here. Okay, and the person saying, I'm meditating on my inability to meditate due to the fact that when I meditate, I can't stop thinking about how I can't meditate because I'm thinking about my inability to meditate. Is that correct? So sometimes we all kind of go through that. And a lot of times doubt can sort of support or help us to resist what we want to do on one level. So, maybe we want to meditate, but then we say, oh, I don't have time for it, or I'll never get enlightened anyway. Sometimes we're looking at the end of the path and not being mindful of the present. Doubt can also make us indecisive. Maybe we're thinking too much or worrying on every detail or setting our expectations too high for our meditation. And if that's what's happening, we need to apply discipline and resolve. What are our true motivations and intentions? Other times we need to look deeply at doubt and its source. Maybe we're doubting the Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha, or our understanding of these concepts. Maybe we take a religious viewpoint, we have a hard time with Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. But I would say to you, what about if you saw them representing wisdom, virtue, truth, and the interconnection of all beings? Because that's really what the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha are. And maybe they're more meaningful to you if they're defined in that way. Buddha was a historical figure and a fabulous psychologist. And personally, I can see how his teachings have affected my life profoundly in a positive way, and that of many others. So I've always been looking for the truth in life. And another word for Dharma or Dhamma, whether you're saying Sanskrit or Pali, is truth. And also the Sangha is really important for us, especially now in these times when we're often so isolated. Thanissaro Bhikkhu says, as in science, faith in the Buddha's awakening acts like a working hypothesis. But the test of that hypothesis requires an honesty deeper and more radical than anything science requires. You have to commit yourself. And another kind of doubt is self-doubt. And we all probably know when the pain of doubt can do to a relationship when we doubt it, or when we doubt ourselves, how we limit our lives. It can really immobilize us. So as we begin to investigate doubts, it can bring about confidence. Doubt can develop when you compare yourself to others as well. Am I as good? They can meditate with more stillness. They can sit longer. Don't compare. Let go of the progress, the way you think progress should look. This path always has its ups and downs and manifests in so many diverse ways for different people. So comparing only feeds that hindrance of doubt. And to share with you a portion of a poem by John O'Donohue. This is the time to be slow. Lie low to the wall until the bitter weather passes. Try as best as you can not to let the wire brush of doubt scrape from your heart all sense of yourself and your hesitant light. In her writings on faith, Sharon Salzberg says faith is a verb. It's an active willingness to suspend judgment and to see for yourself what is true. Buddha taught us in the Kalamaya Sutta not to believe something because he said it or someone else who was wise said it, because it was taught to us or given to us. There's a term he frequently used that was called ihipasiko in Pali, and that means to come and see for yourself. So what do we do about these doubts? If you're doubting, Is there one thing you can trust in as a beginning point? Something that reaches deep inside and resonates. And that's regardless of what your doubt might be about. You know, there's a Lakota Sioux saying, when mind and heart come together, there is no doubt. So when you're in doubt or losing faith in the path, remember something that inspires you, a teaching, a writing, a person, an experience you might have had in your practice and how you valued it. What gladdens your heart on the path? If we find certain things we can't accept, it doesn't mean we have to throw out the whole Dharma. It's right to question. Ihapasiko, come and see for yourself with open heart and mind. And as we progress along this path, we begin to see things more clearly. And if you're having problems, ask questions of a teacher. Read more articles. There's so many wonderful things online now. Study, join a Kalyana Mita group, attend a book discussion or classes. Ajahn Chah, who is my famous forest monk, said, Dharma or Dhamma is in your head, not in the forest. And he'd go on to say that wisdom is in yourself, just like a sweet, ripe mango is already in a young green mango. So as we look at doubt, we can see also how other hindrances can feed into it. If you're worried or remorseful, if you can't stay awake during meditation, if you think you can't do it, you can see how that will feed on your doubt. If you're angry and frustrated with yourself, when you keep getting lost from your breath, that can feed into doubt. Or if you give in to the desires and fantasies that you might have that popping up during the time that you're trying to meditate. Got one more little cartoon here for you tonight. And she says, today I will live in the moment unless the moment is unpleasant, in which case I will eat a cookie. So, you know, that desire, that sensual desire can come in there and fill our doubt. So if you've been listening in, you know the five hindrances, and I'm going to put a little chart up on the screen now that shows them. You know, they're sensual desire, which is your senses are taking over. You know, you want to eat something or see something or think about something. It's your craving. Then there's ill will, which is an aversion or pushing away, disliking, judgment, hatred. There's sloth and torpor, which is drowsiness and dullness and sleepiness. Then there's restlessness and remorse, that monkey mind. We're trying to meditate and we're worried, we're anxious about something, we have all these distracting thoughts. And then there's doubt, where we have a general lack of confidence or distrust or uncertainty. So these are the five hindrances. And a basic way to deal with the hindrances is to first be aware of them. So can you watch your mind while focusing on your breath? We want the mind to be peacefully on the breath, but can we be aware of it when it's not? You know, it's natural during meditation for your mind to drift away from your breath. So here is your practice for the night. You see these five hindrances: sensual desire, ill will, sloth, torpor, restlessness, remorse, and doubt. So your practice is, we're going to begin the meditation like we normally do. We'll have our half-hour silent meditation. But when you find that you've lost your focus on your breath, when your concentration is gone, you know, I think a few of you have that sometimes, right? When that happens, I want you to see what is happening, what hindrance has broken into your concentration. So you're there, focusing on your breath, doing really well, and then all of a sudden you're thinking about something you heard on TV that has you upset and really anxious. Once you realize that you're focusing on that, you come back to your breath as you always do. But just before you come back to your breath, note that was anxiety that you were having. Don't explore it. Don't go into what's causing it. Don't analyze it. Just note it and go back to your breath. Same way, if you're concentrating on your breath and all of a sudden you're getting really drowsy and you realize you're drifting off and you think, oh, I'm drifting off. Note that. That's sloth and torpor, and come back to your breath. So throughout the meditation, you're going to be doing your normal practice of meditation, focusing on your breath. And whenever you find that you're not there, you want to gently come back to the breath, as you always do. Just before that, note what kind of hindrance has broken in on there, okay? So no judgment, no analysis of the hindrance, just recognize it and note and come back to the breath. So that, hope that's clear for everyone. You know, you're going to do your regular meditation practice. It's just when you find you're lost, when you find you're not on your breath, what is it that's impinging on your mind that's keeping you from staying on it? Is it sensual desires? Are you thinking about that ice cream you're going to have when you finish meditating? Is it ill will? Are you angry about something someone said today? Are you sloth and torpor, getting really tired? Or are you restless? You know, I can't concentrate because I have a big day tomorrow, so I'm focusing on that now. Or is it doubt? You're questioning, I don't even know if I can do this, much less recognize a hindrance. So we're going to begin our meditation now. And so, as always, you want to get in a comfortable position where it's a nice balance between relaxation and alertness. So come into your body now, which is always present. Take a few deep, relaxing breaths. Leave everything behind, all that you've been through in the last week, anything in the days to come. Just let it go and relax. So with each inhalation and each exhalation, just let yourself relax. Nowhere to go, nothing to do, but just be here, the gift of this next half hour. And as you find you're leaving the focus on your breath, just note, what is it that's taken you away? And gently, non-judgmentally, come back to your breath. Focus on that, allowing yourself to go deeper into relaxation with each breath. Welcome back. So, I'd really love to hear from you about how that was for you. If you were able to recognize what hindrance came in when you lost your focus on your breath. Maybe did you have the same kind of hindrance multiple times, or were there different things coming up that's arising? So you can either chat, or you can go down to participants and raise your blue hand, and I'll be able to get you to unmute. So I'd love to hear from you about what that was like and what you might have learned from it. Not seeing any blue hands going up there. So sure, I don't know if there's something wrong here, or, here we go. Okay, Margaret. Margaret, you can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Okay. I have a question about sense desire. I know that the thoughts are considered a sense. Is that so? My hindrance, I don't know if it would be that or just restlessness, but I found myself repeatedly wanting to explain myself to someone, to you, or, you know. So would that be a sense desire? To want to like be a certain way or be seen to be a certain way?
Yes, because if you think about it as craving or clinging to something, wanting something to be other than the way it is, but not in a negative way, just in a way that it is, yes. And you can have these hindrances. It can be more than one at the same time. So you could have those thoughts, but then you could also have anxiety with them if you were feeling anxious about having those thoughts.
Yes.
Yeah. And was that the same thing coming in each time? Did you see if there was a pattern?
Explaining different things to different people.
Yeah.
Perhaps I just feel invisible in my quarantine or something.
Yeah.
But repeatedly.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Then we have a couple things in the chat. Noreen, I experienced restlessness and was able to come back to my breath a few times, then finally was able to settle into my meditation. So it sounds like that was like a pattern that you were having throughout. And I don't know if you want to unmute and talk, and it says Maddie is also experiencing a lot of restlessness. Thea had it, and then she had peacefulness and then restlessness. And it sounds like a lot of people, Julia, restlessness and sleepy. So she had that sloth and torpor. So it sounds like a lot of you are experiencing that same thing. How about someone else sharing, raising their hand and letting me know if you saw a pattern? Okay. Okay, so am I to assume that all of the rest of you spent that half an hour right on your breath and never being pulled away by anything? Don't be shy, everybody's pulled away by something. Okay, Linda, let me see, here we go, chat. Linda said restlessness, then breath, then doubt, then breath, then worry, then breath. Okay, so sometimes it was restlessness and sometimes it was doubt. So Noreen, you want to unmute. Let me, did you raise your hand? If you raise your hand, I'll be able to unmute you. Let me see if I can do that. Okay. Noreen, you should be able to unmute. Can you unmute, Noreen? No. I've got you on unmute. Try it now. Can you unmute?
There. Yay.
Okay, good.
Yeah. And then I did experience, of course, I experienced more than restlessness. I did have some worry come into play and at one point, but I was always able to label whatever was coming up, fortunately, and and kept going back to my breath. And finally had probably the last 15 minutes of my meditation was very comfortable and smooth, and mainly, I was able to just totally focus on my breath. But it usually takes me a little while too at the beginning of my meditations to really settle in. And so, but this was very helpful. I'm glad we did it this way this evening. Thank you, Joy, for
You're welcome.
suggesting this.
And a lot of I see Dan talked about restlessness as well, and Linda. And I think that part of the restlessness may have been that you were doing something different or new this time. So it wasn't just breath and come back to, you were when you were lost, you were thinking, oh, well, what am I experiencing here? But it's really good in that you can see what is pulling you away, and are there patterns, and it might change from day to day. Like a lot of you are feeling a restlessness tonight, and so is there something going on in your life? Are you restless? Did you come tonight here restless? Or is that something that's a theme in your life, that really your mindfulness is being pulled away even in your waking life because of one of these hindrances? So if we've got, I think I had a hand up, Babita, let me get to your, you want to unmute?
Yes, thank you, Joy. Thank you. I felt, I think Noreen before me who had the similar thing where, I went back, came back, it was restlessness. Especially what I found was I was justifying myself way too much. I was going in the future and I was trying to justify why I am in the future. So I guess that would come under restlessness.
And what was going on with the future? Were you thinking about things you wanted to do, or things that in thinking about the future, that could be central desires if you're thinking about something you wanted or were desiring. Could be ill will if you were thinking about something you wanted to do that you were upset or angry about. So it could be, and it can be two of those at the same time as well.
Well, thank you for pointing out. Now, as I listen to you, I feel I was trying to justify why I had done something. So yes. I was trying to go in the future and give an explanation that, yes, what I did was okay. So it's something that I guess I want to be heard. And that is what was happening. And since you had given all the 5 points, like all the 5 hindrances, I would always remind myself, okay, it's one of the hindrances, come back to the breath. Come back to the breath. And that's all I did.
Yeah. And, it really helps to do this because you can see, we all would love to have a half an hour where we're really able to stay with our breath and not be pulled out. But we can start to see what it is that's pulling us away, either on the cushion or in our lives when we're attempting to be mindful. And so that's something that you can work on. And, each week, one of the Dharma leaders spoke about these hindrances. So for instance, if you're having a lot of sensual desire, you might want to go back and listen to Debbie's talk again on what to do about that. Or if it's ill will, go back and listen to Ward's talk on what to do. Sloth and torpor, go back and listen to Alexis. Restlessness or remorse or anxiety, go back and listen to Clyde's, because each one of those talks will give you more information on how to deal with this. And so maybe it's one thing on the cushion, maybe one thing off, but it just sort of lets you know what's going on, particularly if it's repeating yourself. Here's a chat from Susan saying she noticed a lot of images related to an experience she had today. I was feeling calm, but having trouble with focusing on my breath. I was questioning whether it was okay to notice and relive my experience today, neither positive or negative. Finally, I felt able to just focus on my breath, and that's good. So there was some doubt mixed in there, what was okay, but normally when we're meditating, we try not to focus on anything that's past or anything that's future, you know, maybe body sensations now, but to go back. And so it sounds like what you did was good to do that. I think, Judy, did you, let me see, let me get you here. Judy, did you have your hand up? All right. I'm gonna try to get this to, able to unmute. Can you see if you can unmute now?
Yeah, my iPad wouldn't work tonight, and I'm trying to use my little phone, so I'm having a hard time navigating. Sorry.
Okay.
The thing that I found that I was doing was, it wasn't, I'm not sure how to identify it, because it was more like I just saw I kept seeing little images of what happened today or yesterday or things like that popping into my mind. And it wasn't really restlessness, it was just these little images popping in and out.
Imposing, yeah. And so it's not always just thought. Sometimes it can just be an emotion that comes up. You know, you're just feeling angry, but you don't know why, or you're just feeling annoyed, but you don't know why. Or it can be these little images, and, you know, maybe they have some kind of feeling tone. Are they pleasant or unpleasant, or, you know, were they neutral? And just to see, you know, how, but if it were images from earlier today, then you could see how that's some kind of attachment to what's happening with the past rather than staying with the present. But maybe, you know, and sometimes something comes along and it's a major disturbance to our meditation. Other times it's just a gentle little thing and we can bring ourselves back. And sometimes it's seductive and we're pulled away for 10 minutes before we can bring ourselves back.
Little pops. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else has a hand up? Okay, I think that might be it. So I just want to say a few more things about this. You know, again, looking at the pattern and coming to understand your mind, because that's really what this path is about, is trying to understand what's happening in your mind, what's coming, what is your mind doing, and how do you cope with it. So expanding on what we did here tonight, you can start to observe, where did that hindrance come from? How did it disappear? What precipitated it? How did it feel in your body when you had it? You know, bringing these things out to light. What's the root? And to always remember that these hindrances aren't who you are. You know, that they're a visitor happening for a reason, and maybe you can come to understand why that is. You know, maybe you're trying to protect yourself or escape or be more comfortable or want to blame or try to relax. So, you know, you can expand on what we did tonight and taking a look at these hindrances on and off the cushion. Jack Kornfield has a way with working them too. He says, pick a different hindrance each day, or maybe one each week, and then be aware when that state arises in you, and inquire in your meditation throughout the day, how is my mind right now? So you might want to pick ill will, and then throughout the day, notice when you're experiencing ill will, or when you're on the cushion, noticing when it comes up. I'm going to show a one more little chart here. Okay, so This is the 5 hindrances again, the chart I showed before, but it has the antidotes in there. And as I mentioned, it'd be good to go back and listen to the other talks if you find that you're consistently struggling with sloth and torpor. Then you want to go back and listen to Alexa's talk on what to do. But here I just put in a few little antidotes, like if you're doubting, then you want to investigate. You want to ask questions. You want to have openness, and you want to look at what your inspirations are. You know, one of the things that's said about working with whatever hindrance it is that it's helpful to develop the 7 factors of enlightenment. And those 7 factors include mindfulness, knowing when a hindrance is present or not, and how it came to arise. Investigation is the 2nd factor in the 7 factors of awakening. And there you note without judgment, there it is. You stay with it to feel the energy, feel the effects on your body, heart, and mind, how you relate to that. Energy is the 3rd one. And so we have to apply ourselves with energy to be able to see these hindrances in our lives. And joy is the next factor of enlightenment. And it's really joyful when we can meet these hindrances, when we can acknowledge them and see what they are and not succumb to them. And as we develop calm or tranquility, concentration, equanimity, that's going to help with all of those. At the bottom of this page here, and you don't have to copy it down, but I think Clyde had the cover of this book when he was talking, but it's Ajahn Thermano, and it is online. It's an ebook or a PDF file, and you can just go to farsangha.org and find that. And he has wonderful items on working with those. Okay. So as you calmly observe what's going on in your mind, you can come to see yourself and your life more clearly. And when you see something more clearly, you're able to transform any situation you're in when you can see what's really going on within your mind. So you see if we had anything else in the chat that I might have missed. Okay. All right, thank you, Maureen. So let me close tonight with a poem by Rebecca Del Rio. Come new to this day. Remove the rigid overcoat of experience, the notion of knowing, the beliefs that cloud your vision. Leave behind the stories of your life. Spit out the sour taste of unmet expectations. Let the stale scent of what-ifs waft back into the swamp of your useless fears. Arrive curious, without the armor of certainty. The plans and planned results of the life you'd imagine. Live the life that chooses you. New every breath, every blink of your astonished eyes. Thank you. Okay, so we had our discussion, and I don't know if anyone else has any final thoughts or anything that they want to go over, and if not, we'll move on to our metta. I got to tell you, I got to keep jumping around. This is doing something strange tonight. It's not coming up with the blue hands like it normally does on the side of the screen. It's taking over the whole screen. Okay, well, I don't see anything else coming up. So why don't we close with our metta? So, you know, when you're doing metta, because this is an actual giving of your heart, a caring and compassion and loving way to approach the world, it helps if before you begin the metta practice, if you actually move yourself into that kind of space. And you can do that in different ways. You know, some people, it's so easy for them to open their heart, start their metta practice. For others, particularly, you know, a lot of people are restless tonight, and sometimes that's hard. So it's good to start by focusing on something really positive in your life. Maybe a person who's good or kind or loving, maybe someone who's helped you when you really needed help. maybe a special pet that makes you feel unconditional love. Sharon Salzberg sometimes talks about just imagining yourself surrounded by people who really love you, that you're in this circle of them. And if you can kind of move into that space before you begin the metta, I think it'll help to facilitate it. So let's just take a second to move into that heart space. And then I'll say phrases and you can silently repeat them to yourself. May I be peaceful. May I be happy. May I be safe and protected from inner and outer harm. May my heart be filled with loving kindness. May I be free. Now you may want to think of a person in particular or a group to whom you want to send metta. May you be peaceful. May you be happy. May you be safe and protected from inner and outer harm. May your heart be filled with loving kindness. May you be free. And now, for all beings everywhere, may all beings be peaceful. May all beings be happy. May all beings be safe and protected from inner and outer harm. May all beings' heart be filled with loving kindness. May all beings be free. Thank you all. It's wonderful to see you all. Take care. Bye.